you talk about some Final Destination stuff here, man. This is the first time we've been back in studio since that Air India flight went down in India, and 270 people, I think, passed away. One guy, one dude on this flight survived, right? And we found out that he actually moved his seat also to be in the actual seat that he was in that saved his life, right? He cheated death. If you have cheated death before, this whole thing kind of fascinates me. Like, you should absolutely have passed away. After that, how do you live your life? Like, do you have like a survivor's guilt? Do you start to look at everything a little bit differently? Like, surely I am on this planet for a reason that I have no idea for me to survive something like this. 1-855-BERT. If you haven't heard this story by now, man, this is it.
If you thought someone surviving the plane crash in India was incredible, then wait until you hear the backstory, because the passenger wasn't booked into the seat that saved him. At some point before he got onto the flight, he switched to a window seat, seat 11A, which was crucially nearer the emergency exit. So the plane came down, somehow he survived in that seat. He got out of the seat and left the emergency exit, jumped off the plane and walked away. He was the only survivor. What makes it even more incredible is that when there are survivors to plane crashes, generally speaking, according to all the data, those survivors were sitting at the back of the plane where there was less impact. He was sitting towards the front of the plane, and none of the aviation experts I've spoken to can explain any of this. So obviously all the questions people are asking are around how he survived. Was it fate? Was it something about him, something about the seat, divine intervention? The reality is we can't explain it. It is just incredible.
I mean, it's tragic. You're talking about 270 people passing away. And it could have been a lot worse. Like, the pilot who passed away is being hailed as a hero because at the very last second, he steered the plane into a field instead of an apartment complex that was right in front of him.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So it could have been way worse. But I was fascinated by the mentality of the whole thing after something like this. I mean, don't you think, like, this has got to be more than a coincidence if this happens to you, that you're the only one that survived? And when it first happened also, there were all sorts of rumors that he jumped out of the plane while it was in flight before it set on fire, and he jumped off of the wing, which didn't happen. He said that it crashed. There was fire all around him, and there was just a small hole in the fuselage for him to get out on his hands and knees and crawl through 11A to get out of that plane. The seat that he wasn't even supposed to be in.
That's unbelievable.
What's so crazy is, did you see the reports coming out that there was another plane crash a couple years ago, and there was one lone survivor, and he was also in seat 11A? Like, I feel I should have screenshotted it, but I figured I think I might have sent this into to the show, but same thing, seat 11A, same guy, only survivor, and survived.
Hey, Jennifer, good morning. You're on the Bert Show. We're kind of talking about either like survivor's guilt. I'm not exactly sure what we're looking at, but you survived something where you shouldn't be around anymore and how it changed your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a major aneurysm in the cerebral stem of my brain, where my body temperature dropped to 94 degrees. My blood pressure was spiking to over 240 for the upper number. Life flight, when they put me on life flight, the doctor told my husband not to expect me to be alive when they got me to the hospital. After a month and some incredible medical care, I was able to walk away without any kind of physical or mental limitations, and it has given me a special gratitude, and it definitely changed my complete outlook on life.
Yeah, let me ask you about that, because I would imagine, the gratitude you must have after something like that happens, where statistically you're not supposed to be here anymore. Does that that feeling last long term, or does that sort of just fade away and then you get back into regular life?
Probably a little bit of both, but for the most part, it's a permanent kind of change. I was about to turn 50 when it happened, and it's been 2.5 years, and it has definitely given me a perspective on life that I'd never had before.
Sure.
So it's been it has been life altering, and especially for those people around me. Things that bothered me before don't bother me as much anymore, but it is definitely there every day.
Oh, makes sense. Thank you for calling. Yeah, this guy, did you guys see the footage of him just walking out of the plane? And as soon as it happens, he's just walking down the street, walks himself right into an ambulance. I mean, his clothes are kind of tore up and he obviously has some burns on his face, but he's like limping down the street, just going right over to the ambulance.
I can't imagine what he experienced. I'm sure a lot of that was shock. The closest situation I ever had to something like this was I experienced some survivor's guilt, which I'm sure my dude experienced it more because he was actually driving. But in college, we got into a bad car accident on the highway that involved our car and another car. The car flipped over. I think they said maybe four times. And I was sitting in the back, so I didn't have my seatbelt on. I would have if I was in the front, which is why today I wear my seatbelt regardless, and you should. But I ended up shifting to the front and practically going through the windshield at the end of the accident. And initially when I got up, kind of like the guy that you just mentioned, I was walking. I thought I was fine, and I just got to the side of the road. And then once the adrenaline rushed off and the shock wore off, I couldn't walk at all. And by the time I got to the hospital, that's when I had learned that the person that was in the other car didn't make it, and that the doctor told me I was internally bleeding so much that if I was like 30 minutes later into the hospital, I certainly would have died.
Wow. Really? That's terrifying.
Mm-hmm. When I first saw this news, the first thing I thought of, I relate everything to movies. Have you guys ever seen Unbreakable? M. Night Shyamalan's movie with Bruce Willis. It's based around something like this, where he survived something like this, and he had superpowers. So, Mo, you might want to get tested out. You might have superpowers.
I've been thinking it.
Yeah, man. I just think when you survive something like that, you must really be curious, like, why me? Why did I survive? And what is it that you, whoever you're worshiping or the universe or whatever, what is it I'm really here for? Because there's got to be something.
I would hyperfixate on that, and I would feel tremendous pressure.
Me too.
To make a difference.
You gotta make something of yourself now.
You better do something. Come on, Mother Teresa.
The Bert Show.